Hello, Professor. So we are Group 25. So today's our topic is about investigation of Hong Kong old buildings groups. So we found out there are three major constraints in Hong Kong right now. So namely land scarcity, continuous urban migration from mainland China, and more than 50% of people lived in new towns since 1990s. So this directly determined Hong Kong's high-rise urban habitat. Under such constraints, today's project is delving into living sites that are built before 1990s, namely Meifu Sanchun, Manhua Sanchun, Wampo Garden, and Taikoo Shing. We will separately investigate their existing plot ratios, current or possible restrictions, and to comment on redevelopment plans and possible fates in future. At last, we will perform a comparison of the four sites and provide a conclusion.
So let's begin with Meifu Sanchun. Meifu Sanchun was the first comprehensively planned development in the private sector during the 70s. This huge residential estate has more than 30,000 flats and houses, with nearly 50,000 people for a density of around 2,500 persons per hectare. Under the building type of partly domestic and partly non-domestic, the maximum plot ratio is 9 and the current plot ratio of it is 7.36. Meanwhile, the limitation of under the airport flight path only allows 60 meters height. This causes the planner to have high-density towers to fulfill the population, which limited the privacy space among the residents. The restriction of the Meifu Sanchun including the plot ratio and the potential discontents in residents. First, the leftover plot ratio is quite small to do other development. It is also unprofitable to acquire all the flats, which will induce a high cost, while using a low price may limit the chance of successfully acquiring all the flats from the residents. Second, the controversy between the residents and the developer at 2011 may show that the unwillingness of residents towards other development in Meifu Sanchun. In the instance, the developer wants to develop portion 2 and 3 to utilize the remaining plot ratio, but the residents take actions to against the plan and protested for occupying the streets. Finally, the developer won the case in court and continues the development. However, this instance shows that any other development may lead to the discontent from residents and may receive resistance or need to delay the plan. Under those restrictions, there are not much redevelopment potential. If the plot ratio is realized, one possible way to redevelop Meifu Sanchun is to rebuild the towers and take one-for-one compensation for the residents. We can take the case of Savannah and Lyceng Court as a reference. The redevelopment project of Lyceng Court provided two towers with total 270 flats, with which 170 flats was given to the original residents with similar size. The rest of the flats was sold to buyers in market value. By providing a new flat with similar size, the residents can enjoy the environment of their living place and don't have to move to other places. In addition, there are needs to build more surrounding facility for more residents, such as larger shopping mall with more leisure facilities, like cinemas. Small commercial buildings can also be built to satisfy the working labor in the community so that the residents can find jobs that located nearby to reduce traffic volume. Let's pass to Jonathan to talk about the Myanmar Century.
Now, let's take a look at Bat Man Lau. Built in the 60s, Bat Man Lau was once an attractive estate choice for the middle class, with its harbor view and convenient transportation. The 8 buildings combined for more than 3,000 flats and was one of the most popular properties in the housing market. The plot ratio for the building is 12, which exceeds the limitation for partly domestic and partly non-domestic building of 9 because it was built before the current regulation. Also, the building was subjected to an 80-meter height restriction since the site was located in a windward direction when building. With over 50 years of age, there is an urgent need for rebuilding Bat Man Lau with serious water seepage problem, especially when some of them are saltwater buildings. However, only partial maintenance is done in the current stage. The issue for redeveloping Bat Man Lau is that there is no incentive for doing so. To comply with the regulation, Bat Man Lau needs to reduce the number of flats, which make the redevelopment totally unprofitable. Moreover, it is hard for developers to make en bloc offer because the property rights is too scattered. Also, a huge compensation is expected as the location is good. The Urban Renewal Authority suggests that the redevelopment for the old buildings will incur millions of losses, which deter everyone to re-engineer them. It is important to find a way out as we need to balance safety and the housing needs of the residents. Relaxing the plot ratio is one possible way to break the deadlock. As there are many subdivided units in Bat Lao, more flats have to be built to meet the housing demand and attract the developers. The one-for-one compensation scheme in the Licensing Court case can be adopted to Bat Lao, thus create a win-win situation to the developers and the residents. If some of the residents living in the sites can be relocated to other area, another possible way is to redevelop the sites in the hotel. The authority can give some share of the hotel and settle the residents to public housing. If residents are reluctant to leave, the authority can rent the hotel room to them at a discounted price as a form of service apartment. It will be feasible as the proximity of the site to the high-speed rail in West Kowloon Station. And there are many different restaurants nearby, which give a competitive edge for the hotel to attract tourists. The authority can also diversify the area by having more public leisure space and commercial building like shopping mall. Now I'll pass the time to Hazen to talk about Whampoa Garden.
Thank you, boss. Now I will talk about Whampoa Garden. Whampoa Garden is the largest private housing estate in Hong Kong. The urban design of the estate incorporated concept is inspired by the Garden City movement and was completed in 1991. Whampoa Garden is located near to the old Kai Tak Airport at the time, so there is height restrictions on buildings. The estate covers 19 hectares and there are total 88 16-story residential high-rise towers, which provide around 10,000 flats. The current plot ratio is 4.59 and the GFA is 86.7. Like Tai Kwu Shing, Whampoa Garden is designed as self-contained, equipped with shopping malls, bowling alleys, cinema, and schools. The signature and the heart of the development is the Whampoa, the boat-shifted shopping center. The transportation in Whampoa is also convenient. There are MTR connected and 2 public transport interchange with 12 bus lines and 2 minibus lines. As Whampoa Garden was built in 1991, around 30 years building age, there are some existing problems on the building structures in nowadays. Building deterioration is serious. There are 2 incidents happened. At 2017, the pedestrian passage ceiling shattered suddenly and collapsed. And at 2018, there is a huge crack in exterior wall under a strong typhoon. These 2 accidents occurred by stillborn rocks and expand after being exposed to moisture and long-term wind erosions on the outer wall of the building respectively. These raise safety concerns and the whole building structures may be affected. There are also rat problems in Whampoa Garden. Moreover, the original design of the building is improper. The living room is in diamond shaded and the ceiling height is short. It's just 8.5, but the average in Hong Kong is 9 inch. So there is some improvement and there is the potential to doing the development. I will raise 2 possible solutions on Whampoa Gardens. The first one is to carry out better maintenance and repair in order to ensure the safety of the buildings. Comprehensive investigations of the whole estate is required. Some investigations like Telltale can be used in order to check the crack movements, and some solutions can be used to show the pH value from the concrete, etc. And also, we can adapt the preventive measures like using stainless steel on reinforcement of the external walls. The second one is the ultimate goal to carry out the redevelopment plan, but this method is not cost effective. The plan can increase all the height of the buildings as the old Kai Tak Airport is closed. There are no more height restrictions, but we should build lower. The height of the buildings should be lower near the harbor, higher near the Hong Kong Road in order to cooperate with the harborfront enhancement scheme. Also, Whampoa Garden nowadays are closely packed with 88 buildings, so the redevelopment plan can be reduce the building density, reduce the number of buildings, but provide more open space. Now I will pass the time to Ringo to talk about Taikoo Shing.
Taikoo Shing, Whampoa Garden, and Meifu Sanquan are all common cross-types residential zoning. For Taikoo Shing, it is important to note that Swire Properties have developed both Quarry Bay Station and Taikoo Station in the past 30 years, and these two stations are well connected and related. The development of Taikoo Shing contains approximately 50,000 people in around 14,000 units, occupying a footprint of 956,000 square meters with a plot ratio of 4.5. Taikoo Shing is also a megastructure which covers a total area of 21.54 hectares. The area was originally used as a dockyard of ships. In 1972, Swire Properties proposed a redevelopment scheme for a new residential community with shopping and entertainment center. It is believed that the plot ratio is restricted because of its nearby to the harbor. The project was completed in 1984 and consists of 61 residential blocks for various heights from 22 to 30 stories. The overall site density is approximately 645 flats per hectare. Before we comment on possible redevelopment plan of Taikoo Shing, we need to investigate the three major issues happening nearby and affecting its possible fate in future. First, in 2016, 6 projects commercial sites are upgrading to A-class commercial buildings by Swire Properties. Second, in 2018, some developers plan to construct a 4-star hotel, which has 35 meters height restriction. While the plan was rejected, and according to Dr. Andrew, a district councillor, this development increased Taikoo Shing population density. Third, in 2019, Chinese firms want to acquire Taikoo City Plaza 3 and 4. Such deal reflects that Swire Properties need extra financing to sell current property and reinvest into new commercial buildings, said by Swire Properties CEO Guy Bradley. These three major issues reflecting two possible directions for Taikoo Shing to redevelop. First, the nearby commercial sites are constantly upgrading under refinancing and acquiring. It is crucial to renew Taikoo Shing in future to remain competitiveness and potential build a similar new Kowloon station in Hong Kong Island East. Second, harborside redevelopment shows possible restrictions for Taikoo Shing redevelopment. So what are the possible restrictions? With reference to the unsuccessful development of new harbor building, we know that there are height restrictions, which is around 35 meters. Second, if buildings are redeveloped closer to the harbor, there needs more pedestrian bridges and transportation, which causes more disruption to the citizens. Third, is open space restriction. Since Taikoo Shing nearby has limited open space and there's only one park for recreational usage, further development will restrict public spacing. And last, it should be more careful on choosing building material, as too many glasses reflection of sunlight will disrupt citizens' living and cause negative externalities to Taikoo Shing residents. So what is the possible solution to redevelop Taikoo Shing under the above-mentioned restrictions? We suggest that MILU, multiple and intensive land use. It is to intensify the use of land resources within single sites through high residential densities and mixed land uses, supported by public transport and pedestrian-based facilities. Taikoo Shing definitely need to refine and upgrade building quality, build better connection and transportation facilities. Taking reference from TKO Newtown and Kowloon Station sites as successful examples, they show the typical form of several towers on top of a podium of green space on its roof, multi-level car park and shops or other functions underneath. MILU combines a desired way of living with an effective mechanism for public and private sector to combine and share community-based facilities, which is a good redevelopment direction for Taikoo Shing to combat with increasing population. From here, we can compare the 4 sites based on 4 perspectives, namely supporting facilities, time for redevelopment, difficulty, and potential. For example, Meifu Sanquan has less supporting facilities, but has a larger potential to redevelop as it is near the Austin station with a high property price, while Taikoo Shing has a more complete supporting facilities, so it has less difficulty. In conclusion, we expect that there will be more high-rise, high-density, and mixed-use developments in Hong Kong, which can be categorized by 4 concepts: compactness, verticality, connectivity, and the Sky City. Sky City means we expect more pedestrian footbridge networks and found both in commercial and residential developments, while all buildings that are built before 1990s should take reference of the new towns to better utilize the land with multiple land use methods. So this is the end of our presentation, and thank you for listening.